Good afternoon, everyone. I I created this vlog impromptu today. I needed to get my notes together for Love and Marriage Huntsville. And I'm going to go ahead and get right into it, but I want you to also pay attention to my little ticker at the bottom there, guys. Okay? And let's get into it. This is Love and Marriage Huntsville. And it picks up really where it left off last week, whereas Mel and Destiny and Kimmy and Tiffany were all around this table, and Tiffany had just brought up the fact that she finally realized how she knew Destiny. So it picks up right there, and she's talking about, well, basically, she's saying that the woman she thought she met was not Destiny. As it ends up, it is potentially uh, Destiny's ex-husband, LeBarrick's uh, person that he was cheating on Destiny with. That's basically the whole story about that. So that's why I say, Melody, you need to check your girl, Tiffany. This is not what we do at dinners. All right. So, hello, if you're in the room, come on in, comment below, leave me a comment. Let me know your thoughts about the show. If you watch Love and Marriage Huntsville, come on in the room and look at my ticker at the bottom. Go ahead and take a look at that. I have a lot of good information there for you as well. If you would just follow it all the way through, I have a workplace chat that I'm going to be doing on Thursdays at about 9:30 p.m., kind of to end the work week. And anyone who is a employee who is non-management can be there. So I noticed that person left when I said that. So I have a good idea about what's going on here with my channel now. I digress. But anyway, Love and Marriage Huntsville. Um, Tiffany, they show her in her confessional saying about the situation because Destiny has just gotten up and left the table because she can't take it. Listen, divorce is painful. It is painful. And if you have been in a relationship for as long as she and LB, who is also Liberic, were in the relationship, she didn't seem like she wanted to leave the relationship. She was probably forced out of the relationship due to his cheating. And who wants to stay around for that? It's worthless to stay around for that. So she's hurt. She would rather have had her baby's father there with her and have the marriage work. But you guys, what goes around, I'm just going to say what the scripture says about it. You reap what you sow. So be careful what you sow and how you sow, because whenever we are sowing, we are supposed to be fruitful, and fruit is supposed to taste good. So you're not supposed to leave behind thorns and things like that, because that means you're not being fruitful and you're going to get it. All of this cheatery that's going on in this world, and it's being revealed on reality shows like Love and Marriage Huntsville. People think it's okay. It has become a normal act. It is not okay. Regardless of how normal it is not okay to be an adulterer. I digress. I don't want to preach to you guys today. So, Tiffany is in the confessional and she's making comments like, well, all I did was bring up the fact that I thought I knew her and I thought that that was the dress that she had on. Come on, Tiffany, you don't know the difference between what Destiny looks like and what some other woman looks like because I know when I've seen someone and when I have not seen someone. I'm clear on the physical appearances of that. So she says, but hey, it's her birthday, so I'm gonna let you cry if you want to. That was hard-hearted. That was hard-hearted, guys, for Tiffany to say that and to be so innocent. Melody, back at the table, asked Destiny if LeBarrick had been a cheater. Has he been a cheater? She asked twice. Has he been a cheater? Melody, why are you heightening this issue that Tiffany has caused. This really looks like something that Melody and Tiffany came up with at the table. For Melody to go in on Destiny like that at the table. And Destiny shook her head no. So, Destiny, if he was not a cheater, why are you all not together? Was it the finances? Did you have a discussion and he just realized and you realized that you just weren't good together? What happened to cause that divorce? Because you literally just got married. You literally just had a brand new baby. Brand new baby. So if it wasn't cheating, because in a marriage, normally it breaks up because of the cheating and also because of the finances. You and Liberic seem to be doing quite well financially. So what else was it? Because Melody said, was he a cheater? Has he been a cheater? Because if it's cheating, you know, and then we see Destiny in her confessional saying, not everybody is like Martell. So what is it? We want to know. So it's a Melody also goes on to talk about how Kimmy and Destiny are now friends because it was a rocky, bumpy start for them, and they are now friends. And then the cake comes out. They serve the cake. It looks delectable. And they eat. And then the scene moves to Houston, where Marsau is arriving on site at the hotel. And as he goes upstairs to where Tisha is, she opens the door in her sexy apparel because they are planning a romantic evening. And Tisha really looks beautiful. She opens the door, so Marceau should be very happy when he sees her because she looks beautiful, she's looking sexy, she's looking romantic, and he should be ready for her, right? They go inside the doors. They kiss. She sits on his lap and Marceau begins to talk business. He says things like, I got a lot of got to make a lot of calls. Got to make sure these bottles of Blaque are on deck. We have tomorrow's meeting. And Tisha is like, okay, yeah, whatever. And he says, we're still on a business trip, baby. I want to know, it makes me wonder, why did Marceau really take that extra day? Why did Marceau not go on the trip with Tisha? Why did he not go on the trip with her? Because she went a day before him. And whenever they finally talked on the phone, he looked relaxed, hanging out on the bed. And that yawn that he gave in the last episode, that yawn that he gave as they were speaking on the phone, was kind of, it looked to me like he was rushing her off the phone. And that is why he yawned. So did he have something else that he wanted to do because the children were not there? Wherever it was, whoever was babysitting the children for that week that they were taking in Houston, that's where the children were, which is probably with Tisha's mom or cousin or someone. And yeah, do you all think that Marceau really had to stay back and take care of business? Let me know in the chat. Let me know in the chat and in the comments, okay? And during this romantic date they're supposed to be on, Tisha even she even talks about extra shopping the day before. They're talking about things that I wouldn't want to talk about if I was on a romantic date. I'm not going to tell you the things I would talk about, but we would be having a completely different conversation. Business would not be a part of it. Kids would not be a part of it. We would be gearing up for the evening. We would gear up to the dinner, gear up during the dinner, and gear up pro, you know, succeeding the dinner. They are it's just not a sexy romantic date to me. As great as she looked when he opened up that door, they should have kept the momentum of what that was. Then Tisha has the audacity to, in her confessional, in the background, they didn't show her saying it, but it was kind of a voice over. She goes, "You're killing the mood, man." Okay, you're both killing the mood, okay? The next scene is Kimmy and Maurice. They are back at the house. Maurice is sitting on the couch. Kimmy's sitting on either the love seat or a regular chair. Can't recall, but if you're looking at the TV, she's to his to his left. So Kimmy tells him about what Tiffany had said at Destiny's birthday party because recall, Tiffany asked Kimmy about monster vaping in the bathroom. And just a word to the wise, I wish they would stop calling the kid Monster. They need to call him by his middle name or call him by a syllable of his middle name or something because I don't like that name Monster for anyone. I don't like it. At any rate, Kimmy and Maurice are having a very serious conversation. This is in both parts of this episode when they show Kimmy and Maurice, both parts, this part here and the part when they're waiting on Kiowa and Xavier. So uh, Maurice is upset about Tiffany bringing up the fact that his son vapes. She's upset. Nicole, you say Destiny got what she deserves. She has always been nasty to everyone. You know what, Nicole? I agree. I'm not a fan. I'm no Destiny fan, right? I'm not a fan of Destiny. At the same time, um, and I actually like Tiffany. I like her because of probably what she does for the chamber and for other Black businesses at the chamber. So I like her for that. At the same time, I think she's doing whatever she knows needs to be done to keep her role on the show, and that's to create drama. You know, I don't agree with bringing up but you think she got what she deserved when Tiffany said what she said about her marriage, and I don't agree with that part of it. But I understand what you're saying about Destiny. Um, just because divorce hurts, it's a painful process. So anyway, um, they are back at Kimmy's. We're back at Kimmy's. Let me get back to the back to the topic at hand. Maurice tells tells his wife Kimmy that Tiffany is starting to sound like someone he's not going to get along with because he doesn't like her bringing that up about his son because it makes his son look like a deviant. And although his grades have not been always the best grades, he does pretty well in school. Overall, he's a really great kid. And maybe he's going through some testing and trials right now. But the thing that really stuck out to me is that Maurice knew about monster vaping and he didn't share that with Kimmy. He didn't share that with Kimmy. Um, that is what really, the thing to me, you know. Um, let's see. Da, 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 da. Oh yeah, Maurice goes on to say that Tiffany should talk about her own stuff or talk about generalities. If she wants to talk about other people's children, she should talk about generalities at the table instead of pointing out his son. So this is a serious conversation between him and Kimmy because Kimmy encourages Maurice that he should be preemptive when it comes to Monster and he needs to make more time. And by preemptive, I mean he needs to talk about things that he knows that Monster might experience in in the future in order to catapult and give him a way to handle it when he comes upon it. I completely agree with that. I'm no Kimmy fan either. You guys, I'm team Mel all day. On Love and Marriage Huntsville, I really like Mel. Whose team are you guys on Love and Marriage Huntsville? Is it Mel? Is it Tisha? Is it Destiny? Is it Kimmy? With the men, I linger more towards Team Maurice, even though I like Marsau. I'm not Team Martell at all. Okay. so, but she also tells him that he has been in balance the whole relationship, throughout their whole relationship. She says there was no honeymoon. And so that's what she says. And then they show the confessional where, Kimmy's wearing the pink dress and Maurice has on the pink tie. So they are like, you know, they are they're vibing together in their attire. Kimmi to me has now become what I call a ride or die wife, because she lets us know also in this scene that, and she says it to Maurice, that she's accustomed to him not telling her stuff. Um, she and for example, she said she would like for him to be clear on what he and Kyle will want from Monster, so she can help facilitate that. I agree with that as well. She needs to be able to help, but she needs to be included. He doesn't include her, you guys. In fact, whenever he's having a conversation with Monster and Kyle, if you noticed last episode, he had the phone turned to him and Monster. He did not include her. She had to pull the phone over to him and say, "Hey, I'm here." And she had to involve herself in the conversation. So, Michelle, you think he doesn't want Kimmy's input on anything that has to do with his son, but he has a lot to say about Kimmy's son and what he should and should not do. Hey, I concur. I concur, Michelle Davis. He sure does. And Maurice, if you look at Maurice and if you look at Marsau, that seems to be a theme with the males of the Scott family. That seems to be a theme that they can do whatever it is that they want to do, and they're running things. And the wife is the submitter in the relationship to whatever it is that they want to do. That's the theme I'm getting here. But Kimmy loves Maurice. I want their marriage to work, even though I do believe, you guys, I believe that that they were having a relationship while Maurice was still married and while Kiowa was still trying to work on that marriage. I believe Kyle with that. I know a lot of people are not in with me on that, but I believe it. At the same time, we are where we are with this, and I do want her and Maurice to work out because clearly it's over with Kiowa and Maurice. I think that Maurice and Kiowa, when you're married to someone, it's hard not to have a certain amount of chemistry, and I believe that they still have a certain amount of chemistry while the romance is not there anymore and while Maurice has chosen differently. I believe that they have a chemistry that is still just between the two of them, and that is why Maurice doesn't involve Kimmy. I'm just saying. So, he's always complimenting her, and she lets him know this. Okay, she lets him know, "You're always complimenting me on how I raised Jaylin, but you dismiss anything or any suggestions that I have even about my own son." So that's that scene, you know? Kimmy doesn't feel heard in this marriage, y'all. She doesn't feel heard. It's all about Maurice. Um, so back to Houston. It's cigar week. Marceau and Tisha are in the confessional. They are talking about how much the week has been such a success for them there in Houston. And then the camera flashes back to the various meetings that they've had. And then it moves into Uncle Mike and Aunt Linda. Now, Uncle Mike and Aunt Linda are Maurice's blood Uncle Mike. Okay. And he's married to his Aunt Linda. I think they've been married for some years. They live there in Houston. So they meet up with Marceau and Tisha at the restaurant. And you guys, I like to get the names of the restaurant. So the restaurant there, I saw the numbers on it too. It's 5512. Of course, it didn't show the street or anything, but it's 5512 something in Houston. But it is called Lucille's. So they are eating at Lucille's restaurant in Houston. And back in the confessional, Marceau and Tisha, they are considering opening up, not even considering, but they're in the process of opening up a second black cigar bar. Okay? A black cigar bar. I wonder where they're going to put it. They should put one in Atlanta, actually. As popular as the show is now, they would make a lot of money in Atlanta. And Tisha keeps bringing up black excellence. And I love that. It's all about Black excellence. And I love that because it's a Black show. And these are the types of communications the Black community needs to hear. Black excellence. That's what we're about, you guys. There's even a YouTube channel. If you search Black excellence, they're always talking about what Blacks are doing, how Blacks are making it in this world. So if you ever get a chance, going over there to Black excellence as well. So they are at the table with Uncle Mike and Aunt Linda, and they start to talk about the fact that they are coming upon their 15th anniversary. So they will be married 15 years this year. And Marceau, I had no idea how funny he is. He is hilarious. And while I think he is a great businessman, I do not think he's a great leader. He needs to take some leadership classes so he will know how to treat his employees at the restaurant and his general manager in particular, because he's a great businessman. He's great at maneuvering and making money. He's just got that in him, you guys. And you know what? I pay attention to certain other things that some people will find kind of crass about men, but I look at them from the top to the bottom, and Marceau seems to be holding. I digress. Anyway, they're talking about their 15th year anniversary, and he is hilarious because he says that this is the year. He said in the past, they, whenever they didn't have anything, it was all about love, and they didn't have anything but love. So they want to have this be a reflection of that. And their Aunt Linda asked, "Well, didn't you celebrate your 10th year anniversary or something like that?" And Marcel goes, "Yeah, we celebrated uh, 10 years, 11 years, the 12th year, the 13th year, and the 14th year." You know? So, and now we're going to do the 15th year as well with love. Okay. So, he's a comedian. Anyway, I probably didn't come across as funny as he did, but you guys get my drift. So, we also learned that Uncle Mike is also in the development business. Probably sounds like he was a contractor. So, this is so amazing to me, guys, because look at the lineage of this Black family. Marceau and um, kind of like my brothers, okay? My brothers and my first cousins who are males, they had the example of our uncles and whatever it is that they were doing. So Marceau and Maurice also have the example of Uncle Mike. You know, he was in the building business, and now they are in the business of building and developing, and they've taken it a step further to do development. Um, so I like that. I just wanted to bring that up. And then they're talking business. I like the way they're talking business. And notice whenever Marceau and Uncle Mike are talking, that their wives are not talking. It's like they just fell into place. And I know a lot of people don't like this nowadays, but you guys, that scene is so prevalent to me. Okay. So the other funny part of it is, well, okay, let's get to the serious part, because Marceau is talking to Uncle Mike about some contractors who were supposed to be designers of their home and they didn't show up. And Marceau tells Uncle Mike, "I'm holding you accountable for that." And Uncle Mike looks at Marceau and says, "Okay, we want to play this game. Oh, this is where we're going with this." Uncle Mike looked like he can get right in there with Marceau. you know, he's like, "This is where we're going with this." But then they kind of turn it into a little banter between Tisha and Marceau about whose fault it is that everything is being delayed, because Marceau wants an extra garage and Tisha wants an extra closet. So Uncle Mike kind of skates on in there and lets them know that it was the garage that was causing the issue, you know. But here's my thing: please don't give Tisha another reason not to be responsible. Okay, Tisha is already not responsible for her actions, so please don't give her another reason. um, so Aunt Linda asked Marceau and Tisha about Maurice and Kimmi and where they're planning to build their home. And Tisha tells them, they're not sure yet. They're still looking into some property, but they know that they're probably not going to build it in the same location as Tisha and Marsau. And originally, you guys, if you recall, they wanted Maurice and Kimmi to build their home on the same property because they are trying to create, a place for just their family. I forgot what you call it when you just have a family in the area. There's some highfalutin, high class name that they use, but they're trying to do that. And Kimmi has made it clear that she doesn't want to live on the same property. She feels like she sees enough of them without having to live and be a neighbor. So that's why Tisha tells Aunt Linda that she knows they're not going to be building their home on the same property. And then Tisha goes on to tell them not to share with Maurice and Kimmi anything about their home because Maurice is already trying to find out so that he can compete and outdo them. And I was like, "Oh my goodness. This is going to be really good. This is good." Okay. So I don't have much longer, you guys. I did notice in one of the scenes on Marceau's shirt that it said Scott Industries Incorporated. So that's the name of their development company, Scott Industries Incorporated. I like this family and how they think about development. So the camera moves into a home that is being reconstructed. And there we have Kimmi and Jaylin. They have ventured on to a new project together. And Kimmi tells Jaylin, we're going to have to consider the cost of the project. They're inside the home now, okay? And it's a fixer upper, so she tells him not to be concerned about the way it looks now because that's all going to change. So she tells him they need to be concerned about the cost of the project, which are the labor and the materials. And Kimmi lets us know that Jaylin closed on his condo. I don't know if the condo is another, residence because this looks like a house and not a condo. So I think he must have closed on his condo and now they're in on this renovation project with this home. And she goes on and she asks him about Blaque. And he vents to his mother and lets her know. And I love this relationship that they have wherein he can talk to her about the issues he's having and she can give him feedback, which also helps with his direction. I really like that relationship between them. So Jaylin, also, you guys, I have to take note of this as well. I noticed that Jaylin has a necklace chain around his neck. I want you guys to tell me if you noticed that chain and what you noticed about it. Put it in the chat. I wish I had a prize to give away. I'd give it away. I'd give it away to the person who could guess what was around his neck. We'll get back to that here shortly. But anyway, uh, they are talking about Blaque, and Jaylin begins to vent with her and tells her that he tried to talk to Marsau to let him know about some of the needs that he has at Blaque and that he's always working and that he doesn't have a day off. So Kimmi starts to chime in and she says something to him. She says, "I thought he was setting you up for failure." Now, I don't know why she said that or why she would think that, or if she just said that out of anger, because why would she think that her brother in law would be setting up her son for failure? And her brother in law, Marsau and Maurice, are best friends. So I don't know why she thought that, but she did think it. But they're having the conversation, and he's talking to her about his needs at the business, how he works all the time, and how Marsau is is he lacks empathy for what Jaylin is going through at Blaque. And then on top of it, Kimmi, after he had the conversation with Marsau, Kimmi makes a phone call to him and has that same conversation. Not Kimmi, but Tisha. She calls him and has that same conversation. Tisha, you're doing too much. Tisha really needs to go. I'm so glad that next week they're going to be in therapy. I hope Dr. Franklin brings them all the way together. And especially Tisha. I'm no Tisha fan at all. Tisha is at the bottom of the list for me on this show when it comes to the females that I like on the show. I even like Kimmi better than Tisha. And anyway, I digress on that. So I think that Marsau needs leadership classes because Marsau needs to know that people do need 2 days a week off from work. They need a work-life balance. And I think that leadership classes will show Marsau how to provide that to his employees and how to make sure that they can take care of their needs so that they can come to work and be better workers, to be quality workers. Studies show that when you have a good work-life balance, that you're more apt to do better on the job because you don't have the stresses or the pressures that are holding you down at work, thinking about what you need to be doing at home or outside of work. So Marceau definitely needs that class, and so does Tisha, by the way. Anyway, I digress. They move on and they start talking about Destiny because remember Destiny told Kimmi that she had a crush or she believed that Jaylin had a crush on her. But in this scene, Jaylin says, "You know what? She's a beautiful woman and all, but she's not my type." But he starts to try to whisper about the cougars who like him. And then he says they call him the Cougar Tamer. So Jaylin is the Cougar Tamer. Okay? Um so they move on, they're back to the cigar event, and I noticed in this event that there are a lot of former Ready to Love cast members at the event. In fact, they have cast members from like 2 seasons ago, from this past season and last season. Marsau is talking to Nephew Tommy. You know, Nephew Tommy is Steve Harvey's nephew. So he's at the event, and his wife is also at the event. And his wife and Tisha are chatting it up. I wonder what Tisha's talking about with Nephew Tommy's wife. That's what was on my mind. I was like, I wonder what in the world they're talking about. So they give their speech. They are there to launch Blaque's chocolate in a bottle. And I learned also that Blaque's chocolate in a bottle, that it's a champagne, a chocolate champagne. And it is in 53 countries worldwide already because Marceau has partnered with another company to launch this chocolate in a bottle. They need a website. Okay? They need a website real quick while this thing is hot because people will be buying up that bottle of champagne. I'm going to try to get a bottle of it myself. Next, they show at the same event, Maurice, he is just chatting it up with all the women. I know he considered not Maurice, but Marcel. He's being social. You don't see him connecting with the guys or shaking hands with the guys. He's going around to all the beautiful women in the room. He goes over, he's first chatting it up with the former Ready to Love, the light skinned girl. I cannot remember her name, but she was there, and he was chatting it up with her. Then he goes over to Kyra. Kyra, who's just waiting, honey, to have herself warmed up by a man. She's in heat, okay? Kyra is in heat. I don't care what nobody says. You can look at her and tell she is in heat. Um, he goes over to her and introduces himself. He goes, "Hey, how are you? I'm Marceau." And Tisha notices that. And that's what Tisha is talking about when she's in that red dress. I mean, when she's outside saying to Marceau, "I had to snatch you away because that girl in the red dress was really eyeing you." And so she had to say that. And so they pull back and they show the restaurant. I couldn't get the full name of where this event was being held, but it was at some venue, and the last letters were AMAHLE. And this is somewhere in Houston. I could not see the first part of the letters, but the last part of the letters are AMAHLE. So the cameras move into this last scene that I'm going to talk to you about, where they are with Kimmi and Maurice again, you guys, and they are again having a serious conversation. And this conversation, even though this is in the show, this is really about their relationship. They are at the restaurant, Beezer Restaurant. It's spelled B is in Bravo, E is in Echo, E is in Echo, Z is in Zebra, R is in Romeo. That is what the cameras pulled out and showed to be the name of that restaurant where they are. And they're waiting on Kiowa and Xavier. Xavier is Kiowa's current husband. And Maurice and Kimmi are having a serious conversation, and Maurice is taking credit for a lot of the things he's done in the relationship. He even says that he's fostered the relationship between her and Kiowa, and Kimmi disagrees with him. She's like, "Oh, so you think you fostered that relationship? No, you did not do that." And uh, they start to order their food. Maurice orders his. Kimmi gets shrimp and grits, and they continue their conversation about how Maurice is not allowing Kimmi to really be a part of what goes on in the relationship where he is concerned. And he even lets her know he's going to have to leave this meeting, and because Kiowa and Xavier are late. Kiowa, why are you late? Really? This is ridiculous. Was this a setup for producers? Did the producers call her and say, "Come at this time"? Because the producers would have known what time Kimmi and Maurice, these Maurices, Martels, Marsau's, I'm telling you, the producers would have known the time that Maurice and Kimmi were going to be there. So for Kiowa and her husband to be late, that really looks like a setup to me. Okay? For them to end this episode with, so that people will be curious about the next episode. And also to create some drama within the marriage of Kimmi and Maurice, for them to have that conversation, even though I believe the conversation is real. When Kimmi says to him constantly that she's not really a part of the information. She's not, whenever Maurice does something, he doesn't share it with her. And I think that it's not that he doesn't love her. I think it is because he is controlling. The Scott men are controlling. At any rate, he gets ready to leave, and she, in her confessional, says, no, not in her confessional, but she says to him, you want to hear, you just said that you were happy that Xavier is coming, and now you're going to leave. That doesn't make sense to me. You're happy about her husband being here, but you're not going to be here, and it's your son. You're leaving me again with the leftovers, literally. And he says, "Well, you know where my heart's at." And she says, "I'm not speaking for you." And he says something again to try to get her to, she goes, I'm not going to. And she's adamant about that. But you guys, he leaves anyway, and she stays. And he even leaves his leftovers for her to pack up. He doesn't even take his leftovers with him. It's just, I hope he looks back at this and sees where he needs to change. Because clearly, Kimmy says she's clearly not a top priority, because she's always getting the leftovers, literally getting the leftovers. And then Kiowa and Xavier walk in, they're late, and it is going into the next scenes. And Melody needs to check her girl Tiffany, because in the next episodes we see she continues to harp on whatever strife Tiffany is bringing to Destiny. Melody continues to do that. And I don't want her to do that. I don't want her to do that. But remember earlier, I asked you guys what was Jaylin wearing, and no one put anything in the comments. So I'm trying to determine, are you guys really my subscribers? Because you're not putting anything in the comments. What was Jaylin wearing? I'm going to go ahead and tell you. Let's see here. Let's see here. Okay. Jaylin was wearing an Omega Sci-Fi necklace. Okay. He is an Omega Sci-Fi, in case you guys didn't catch that. And at any rate, that was the end of this episode. I don't have any music to send you out on. I just wanted to come on here and give my review of Love and Marriage Huntsville. It is one of my favorite shows, and it is the show that brings me the most views, or it has in the past, and I hope that it continues to do so. So I'm going to go ahead and say to you, as I always say, many blessings to you, and we will see you in the next one.